All right. Let's talk about Mighty Orbots, Tyler.
More like backfired.
Okay.
Gary Owens,
Oh,
I
sorry.
forgot, is the narrator of this. I forgot about that. I haven't seen it in a long.
Like, what
So,
is Mighty Orbots?
so when I was a kid, on Saturday mornings there was this cartoon called Mighty Orbots, and it's very much in the vein of Voltron, those types of, like the combiners from the Transformers, like the Constructicons and the, all the shit, and the Predacons, all those things. But the thing about it is that there was something about this cartoon that always just was not. It was just not like other cartoons, and I think you saw a little bit of that. Maybe it's just my thinking from when I was a kid, and I wasn't like, I was like 7 or 8 or something like that. But there was something about it that was like, I don't know why, but like there's adult themes kind of sprinkled through here a little bit that I'm not getting. And at the time I knew, I've seen them since, and it's like, wow, that's kind of fucked up that was on Saturday morning. But it's really more just like, I mean, to be really honest, if you try hard enough, you can see shit in anything. Really. Let's be honest about that. But you can't deny that there are a couple of times where you're like, whoa, what is this kind of weird vibe going on between these robots? But the animation to me was always good. The fucking opening sequence is awesome. Like, go, mighty Orbots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Animation's pretty good, and it was just one of those cartoons. Also, never made toys for that.
Really?
This was not a cartoon that was a 30-minute toy commercial. It was a cartoon for cartoon's sake.
Weird.
Which was another reason why I like it so much, is because it wasn't a cartoon that was made to sell the toys that were already made. Because that's what G.I. Joe and Transformers were, albeit excellent. They were excellently done.
Was. I mean,
right.
That's what Street Sharks was. It was
Teenage
a
Mutant
cartoon
Ninja
to sell
Turtles.
a TMNT knockoff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is surprising. It's pretty common at the time.
I'm sure there's been some sort. It's a cult classic for a reason. Like, if you've heard of it,
I've never heard of it.
It's weird
until
if
you mentioned
it's weird if you've heard of it. Honestly, if you haven't heard of it, it's not that weird, because it was on. I can't remember what channel it was on when I was a kid, but I think it was just one episode.
We watched
one season.
The VHS cut of the
Dremlocks.
Which again still blows my mind that back in the day, because that's the only technology we had, but we would have like just videos of like an episode or two of a TV show just on a random video that you could rent.
You ever notice too that the those ones like weighed less than like the movies?
No.
I always did. The TV shows, like the one, like Pride of the X-Men, for a great example, it had one show on it.
Yeah.
So there was not a lot of tape on it.
There was
not a lot of right. But then like a movie like, and then the worst was the two VHS. The movie's so long you have to fucking take one out.
Titanic. So, yeah, I've never heard of this show until you brought it up. I will say, like, it's weird because I like doing these retro reviews because you also have to kind of look at it on a scale, on a curve, because you have to think of when it was made.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what was this, like, early 80s? When was this?
It got to be, like, 81, 82.
I'm going to pull this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
But you can definitely see it's an earlier era of animation in the West. And, But it was clearly very much like what you talked about with, like, those anime-inspired shows, and that's what it reminded me a lot of.
Clearly inspired by Voltron. Have you ever watched the Voltron
I've
cartoon?
Never actually watched Voltron.
So I've watched it
before,
before, and the Voltron cartoon
I had Power Rangers growing up, so I had Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
The Voltron cartoons are very much in the vein of anime movies. Those kind of, okay, Speed Racer is a perfect example. Like, somebody spoofs Speed Racer, and it's somebody talking really fast, and then they go, yeah, like that, right? And that's Voltron's like that.
So
the cartoon is very much in that vein.
The original series aired from September 8th through the December 15th of 1984.
And what channel was it on? Does it say?
ABC.
Huh. Okay.
But again, it does it definitely feels like an early 80s cartoon. It feels like, and like, you could tell this was around the time when Transformers was popping. We had the Transformers movie that year. Like, again, I wasn't around when this happened, but
so
this is just
weird,
history.
Weird thing is, like, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Ghostbusters came out. Will you look that up real quick? I'm going to talk.
I'm pretty. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jedi came out in '83.
Let me see. I guarantee it though. Ghostbusters, 1984. Baby.
So we moved to Iowa in the summer of 1984. The first day we got there, my dad and my brother and I went and saw Ghostbusters, and that year is '84. So that fall, that would have been
June '84.
So that would have been the fall. That would have been the first time that we would have had ABC, because when we were growing up in North Dakota, there was no ABC affiliate in Bismarck. So if you wanted ABC programming, you had to have cable.
Weird.
So we only got CBS and NBC and PBS when I was growing up. The only time that I saw cable, I did see MTV when it first aired, because my friend had cable and they were like, "Hey, there's this thing, whatever."
Did you watch the real Ghostbusters cartoon?
I did. I also watched the other one. I had toys of all of them.
You never watched the Ghostbusters cartoons.
I had toys of both of them. But 84, see, my recollection of this show is not Iowa. My recollection of this show is North Dakota. So there's a great essay by Chuck Klosterman. He's a rock journalist. And he's talking about how he is at this, he's talking about his memory of like his first dance and his first kiss. Okay. And he was in junior high and he's at this thing and da-da-da, and they dance to this particular song. And it's vivid in his memory, right? But he knows two things for sure. The song came out this year, and the dance that he knows that it happened this year. In other words, this song wasn't out. You see how your brain, when you're thinking about your childhood, kind of conflates things? Yeah. Like he was conflating, he knows that one part of that story is wrong. Either he was dancing to a different song or he had his first kiss the summer after. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's the same thing here. But we must have had it on our own TV at home. So, but yeah, it's one of my favorites from when I was a kid. One of the cartoons that sticks out in my mind for sure. Next week we got to do the Alf cartoon, because
Alf.
Dude, the Alf cartoon is him on Melmac when he's Gordon Shumway, dude. Like all the Alfs. I'm serious. The cartoon is badass. Fuck Alf the TV show, dude. Can I say dude one more time?
Dude.
Yeah,
I think some of these shots are pretty cool. They hold up. Some of them, it's like, oof, yeah, it was made '84. But there are some shots that you can tell they spent a little bit more money on to make it look a little bit cooler. But it's an interesting concept because it's like you're kind of seeing what inspired it at the time and what it also would be somewhat inspiring later, because so essentially it's the Megazord as I would know it, because again, Power Rangers. So but they looks like Optimus Prime, but it's all these robots that join together and they fly through space, which is a cool concept. But what's even weirder is there's like a human pilot
and then like an alien girl named Chrono.
And so they fight the Shadow
Star,
which have these weird squid-looking spaceships, kind of look like sperm. It's just such a bizarre show. Like, so these the Dremlocks are pretty much like Ewoks.
Ewoks, yeah.
So
you know what? If the Ewoks started smoking weed and listening to the Grateful Dead, that's the fucking Dremlocks, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, for real. More like Dremlocks, more like Drem who gives a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Bold words. Back at 11.
Find out what the president had to say about that.
Stick around.
That's it. You should always use that to throw to commercial. Hey, we're coming back.
Stick around.
This is the Arnold Show.
Don't change the channel. I will know if you did.
Tonight we are talking about mighty.orbots.
Okay, let's.
Come on.
That sounded French.
Come on.
That devolved.
Tonight we are talking
Oh,
about the mighty
oh,
My French is horrifically stereotypical, and it sounds like I'm taking a shit.
Wow.
You know what? Fuck the French.
Oh, I thought you said your. Wow, I thought you said your friend, and I'm like, your friend is terribly stereotypical. Okay. What? So.
We're gonna wrap it up.
Right, but the bottom line is that the dynamic to me also was interesting because these robots are, Transformers. We had Transformers at the time already.
But it looks like Optimus Prime.
But no, the Transformers were like, I mean, they had human, Spike and Witwicky, whatever. But they were like little people, and then the robots were huge. This was different because they were all the same size. You know what I mean? Like the robots are the same size as the humans when they're not connected.
Yeah.
But then when they're connected, they're this gigantic fucking.
How did they get so big?
Right. Hey, physics. That the two humans can fit inside comfortably with their spaceship around them.
Yeah.
But the dynamic was weird because it's kind of like Rob is the leader and he runs them. Have you ever heard of the Metal Men DC?
No.
Okay, so Dr. Magnus, and then there's these 5 or 6 robots. There's mercury, gold, lead, tin, blah, whatever. I'll let you borrow the thing I have, but it's the same kind of thing where the robots are autonomous to a point, but Dr. Magnus literally can say no, fuck you, and like, boop, press a button, and they do whatever he wants them to. This was kind of different, but it's kind of the same thing where like. You feel like if Rob was like, no, I want to do this instead, that they'd be like, well, we got to do what you say.
Yeah.
Even though they're autonomous to a point. So
it's a weird show.
It's a fun show. If you get a chance, it's all on YouTube. And, you probably find better quality than what we found.
Whoops. Wow, I specifically wanted to watch the VHS cut.
I liked
because it even had the blue screen.
It was the first
and the tracking.
Well, it was the first episode that we saw that had a title instead of episode 3, 4, 5, whatever have you. So that was cool. And then the RIP VHS was like, well, we got to watch the VHS version so we can really get into it.
The beta snip. Who the fuck is this guy?
Oh, it sounds like a sex thing.
Wow. Get your ass to Moss.
Everything sounds like a sex thing. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.